Brad, one of the things that I've found with clients is, and not just with my clients, I am just as guilty of this as well, is that we don't realize how much money is passing through our hands and how much we are consuming that we don't necessarily need or want to consume because it's taking us away from the financial freedom that we're looking for. And so, as we go through this exercise, it's to help you see what you could wind up with instead of what track you're on and that you will end up with. And so, as we dive into this, Brett, how old are you today?
36.
36. Okay. And at most of my clients at the age of 65, they kind of want to hang things up, sail off into the sunset. What are your plans on that? What are your thoughts?
I don't sell off in the sunset. I'm more like a 70, 75 probably.
75? Okay. All right. You want to stay in the game because you enjoy it
I like it.
for a
Yep.
while. Okay. Awesome. Well, that puts us on a 30, about almost a 40-year timeline as to where we're looking at things overall. And currently, today, what is household income?
158.
Okay. And at 158, as we've looked at a lot of government research data, primarily through the IRS and then some independent firms, we find that income increases on average at 6.9% on an annual basis. Brad, would you like to run with that number at 6.9? Do you want to run with something more conservative? Uh,
We can run that. That's about what the S&P 500 is holding right now, 7%. So we can do what the
all
government
right,
says.
run with the government. Okay, so that means that as we look at to this year's income, 158, next year will be at almost 169 and then 180, and it just kind of compounds that increase every single year. And so over the next 39 years, that means about $28 million is going to pass through your hands. Did you realize it would be that much?
No, no.
A lot of times because it comes in on a monthly basis, we just don't think of what the overall number is actually going to be. Now, as Americans, we are very, very skilled at spending money.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is something we're very proficient at. And all of the data tells us that we don't do such a good job of saving. And when we look at, once again, IRS data and other independent studies, it tells us that Americans save, on average, just under 4% of our income each year. Brad, where do you think you land on that? Do you think you're at above or below what that national average is?
We're probably pretty average.
About average? Okay. So what that means is of that 158, you are going to spend 151, 151,600 this year. Okay, but income is increasing at that 6.9 each year, and if we stay on the current path, your expenditures will increase by that same 6.9% next year and the year
Right.
after that. And so we go from 151 this year, 162, 173, and it just kind of compounds. And what that means then is at the end of the next 39 years, you're going to have captured just over $1.1 million.
Yeah, that blows.
So you're saying that's not going to be enough?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right. So we probably ought to go put it to work then to increase that end result. Over the next 40 years, 39 years, Brad, what rate of return do you think you could get consistently on the money that you save?
I mean, if you just put things in ETFs, I'm mostly in the stock market, so I just put things in ETFs and hold it there. I think the S&P 500 for 50 years has been somewhere around 9%.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll run with 9% on that. And at the end of 39 years, that 9% will get you to 5 million. Is that going to be enough?
We could do better, I'm sure.
Okay. Do you think we could net 15% year over year for the next 40 years?
With the right system, you could.
Okay. I would love to know what that system is, um, because I don't know of many people who have been able to do that,
Hmm.
including Buffett and Gates and all these other guys. So
Yep.
let's say we were able to get 15% without increasing risk, and that gets you up to 19 million. At your lifestyle at the end of 39 years, is that going to be enough to cover to maintain lifestyle and do all the things that you're going to want to do?
Of course.
Okay. So you think we'll be there at 19 million?
That'd put me at almost just shy of $1 million a year usage until I'm 95.
So you're 95. Okay. Probability wise, what do you think the likelihood is that we're going to hit 15% year over year?
Making it low.
Low. All right. Confident on 9,
Yep.
not so confident on the 15. So there's one other strategy that we can employ where we don't have to chase rate of returns. We don't have to introduce risk. In fact, it eliminates risk. It eliminates the need of having to chase rate of return. And that is if we put an automated cash flow structure in place that by default prioritizes financial freedom. And what we do is we put just a little bit of constraint on that increased spending on an annual basis. So what most of my clients will do is they look at it and they say, okay, if my income is going to increase at 5%, I'm going to set it up so that I save 2.5%. So their spending increases at 2.5%, their savings increases at 2.5%. If you had an automated system that worked in the background by default, Brad, how much of your increased income each year do you think would be easy for you to capture?
I mean, I had 6.9 before, so if we follow the 50%, that'd be 3.45, right? So,
Uh-huh. All right, let's run at we'll run 3.4.
okay.
So instead of your spending increasing it by 10,000, it just increased by 5,000 each
Yep.
year. Now, before I hit save on this, Brad, do you think it'll be more, less, or the same as chasing that 15% rate of return?
Um, Probably more because that 15% isn't going to be compounding like this is.
That's right. Puts you at 51 million. As we look at just putting a little bit of constraint on the consumption, it more than doubled the end result that you were looking at chasing rates of return. Even if you had it got 6%, we're still going to be trying to chase a 15% rate of return.
Yep.
Brad, if we work together, how many of those dollars would you like to capture?
All of them.
All right.